A hush fell over the Global Pilot Academy's main hall as news of the galaxy-wide competition rang out through the speakers. Earth, small and secluded for centuries, had finally secured a place among the stars, invited to a special tournament where the universe's most daring aviators would compete for honor, recognition, and a chance to be labeled the greatest pilot in existence. Leaders from every major world power had sent their top representatives to witness the unveiling of this extraordinary opportunity. In the crowd, a cross-section of humanity's finest talent stood shoulder to shoulder, adrenaline coursing through their veins, space exploration veterans, cutting-edge test flyers, and rookies who'd never faced a real extraterrestrial opponent but possessed extraordinary reflexes and remains of something intangible. Heart. Satellite images revealed new starship designs, ones built to keep up with the breakneck speeds and swirling hazards that would define the tournament. Word of mouth indicated the rest of the galaxy boasted centuries more experience and technology than Earth could ever dream of. But in the hush, no one thought to shrink from the challenge. Instead, a momentary surge of determined pride emanated from every Bertalio ward. The competition meant a shot at a legacy. She had grown up on stories of early space exploration, the first warp drives, the fleeting contact with nearby star systems, the blossoming hopes for human presence across the galaxy. But Talia had never expected that humankind would be recognized so soon, or thrust into an interstellar spotlight. She had been a star pilot in the Defense Forces, renowned for her uncanny ability to anticipate enemy maneuvers during Earth's brief forays into peacekeeping across minor planetary colonies. Rumors said that she could outmaneuver missiles on nothing but instinct. Yet here she was, feeling a chill of excitement prickle her arms. She was not alone. Surrounding her were the equally celebrated legends from different corners of Earth. Pilots who once competed in the famed global air games. Among them stood old war veterans with battered flight suits, intuitive civilian expedition leaders who had ventured to set up colonies on Mars and Titan, and newly minted test pilots known to push nerve-wracking prototypes beyond their limits. The Academy's high-domed ceiling glinted with the reflection of gift-laden banners from Mars, Luna City, and Earth's oceanic colonies. The sense of unity was nearly palpable. The months leading to the journey off-world were filled with rigorous screenings. Earth's invitation explicitly stated that only 5 pilots selected through a series of pinpoint tests would earn the right to represent the planet. First, there came the adaptability trials in the Academy's Zero-G training chamber, where participants had to pilot nimble craft through a winding, rotating maze. Then came advanced dogfight simulations, complete with shifting gravitational forces and the looming threat of spontaneously generated asteroids. Word spread that more than one pilot walked away dizzy or even fainted. Talia, however, excelled. She squeezed through narrow corridors with surgical precision, weaving around rotating platforms faster than a viewer's eyes could track. Interviewers asked her to explain her approach, and she'd shrug, uncertain how to verbalize what she did. Some described her gift as clairvoyant. Others believed it was simply split-second muscle control. Administrators jotted notes and frowned thoughtfully. Meanwhile, the best soldiers in Earth's ranks found themselves outranked when Talia outmaneuvered them in near every scenario. Spectators observed her craft, gliding as if carried by invisible currents. Day after day, pilot after pilot was eliminated until only Talia and 4 others remained standing. Kazuo Mikami, an analytical pilot from Japan's colony program, known for his calm but rigorous flight planning. Elora Carpenter, a fierce X-fighter known to push beyond the red line of any craft. Darius Nuazu, a brilliant engineer-pilot hybrid who specialized in innovative flight tactics. And Shen Li, a quiet intelligence operative, rumored to have spurred humanity's earliest attempts at stealth spaceflight. Together, the 5 of them formed a team that Earth pinned all its hopes upon. They left Earth in a newly commissioned starship named the Aurora Vista. a sleek marvel of Earth's budding fusion technology. While it was nowhere near as advanced as the warp drives rumored to be possessed by centuries-old galactic civilizations, it was formidable in its own right, boasting a highly coordinated AI pilot system that assisted in emergencies. The journey to the designated competition sector spun by in a blur of stardust and nebulae. The group traded anxious jokes, studied star maps of the rumored tournament location, and attempted to glean any advantage from cosmic anomaly. The closer they drew, the more mesmerizing the cosmic sphere outside their windows became. Gas giants loomed like sentinels, their swirling clouds of color faintly illuminated by distant suns. By the time they reached the sector known as Eruvia's Eye, a cluster of star systems that served as a favorite meeting ground for the galaxy's elite, Talia found herself stunned by the colossal size of the floating station that would host the tournament. It looked less like a station and more like a mechanical planet. A sprawling lattice of platforms, docking bays, observation towers, and labyrinthine hull passages. It gleamed with an otherworldly metallic sheen, pulsing with bluish thruster exhaust at irregular intervals to maintain a fixed position relative to Eruvia's Eye. Upon docking in a cavernous hangar, Earth's newly arrived pilots glimpsed the competition's scale. Lining the floors and walls were bizarre vessels designed by different alien species, some shaped like sleek arrows, others built like wide discs, still others sporting symmetrical double-hulled fuselages with an insectile aesthetic. Pilots of every imaginable shape and form roamed the hangar in small clusters, exchanging quick greetings. A few recognized Talia's group when they disembarked, giving them polite nods. Word had spread that Earth was the only participant from humanity's sector, and many viewed them as novices. Talia felt a slight flush creep over her cheeks, though she kept her posture composed. While Kazuha wore a small, polite smile, Elora looked fired up, while Darius made mental notes about the ship's designs. Shen stood quiet, his dark eyes scanning for any sign of danger. When Earth's contingent made its way to the pilot lounge, an alien official with elongated limbs and golden eyes greeted them, offering a fully translated copy of the tournament's schedule and rules. The official's voice, transmitted through a universal translator, painted vivid details. The competition would include multiple rounds, each testing different aspects of piloting: agility, combat maneuvers, hazard evasion, rescue operations, and a final surprise event whose details were kept secret until the last moment. The official ended by saying, "We look forward to seeing if humankind can surprise us." The opening ceremony took place in a massive amphitheater that encircled part of the station's outer rim. Holographic screens floated above the stands, and interstellar commentators, some sporting exoskeletal suits, some wearing ornate robes, introduced the contestants to a swirling crowd. Species from across the galaxy cheered or hummed in excitement. Humanoids with amphibious features cheered next to entirely mechanical life forms, whose voices crackled with static. The first event was set to begin immediately. An obstacle race through a purpose-built environment. On the screen, Talia saw it labeled as the Rosuko Gauntlet, a famed test of a pilot's ability to adapt to unpredictable hazards. The camera panned over the labyrinth, floating rings suspended in different gravitational pockets, swirling meteoroids drawn from nearby asteroid fields, pillars shooting random energy blasts. If any competitor's craft was forced to land, that pilot would be disqualified from the round. Talia took a calming breath before she and her team parted ways to their assigned Earth fighters. As soon as the countdown ended, dozens of craft peeled off the starting line in a dazzling display of propulsion technology. The noise was deafening, ion cannons crackling, plasma thrusters booming, and whooshes from contrails slicing through the low artificial atmosphere. Talia's starfighter, an elegant craft with improved inertial dampeners, zipped forward. She had barely cleared the first ring when an energy blast erupted in front of her. Responding instantly, she spun to the side, feeling the jolt in her seat harness. A pair of alien craft roared past her, seemingly locked in a dogfight. She glimpsed the swirl of their vibrant hull designs, spirals of luminous paint that showed their affiliation. Kazuo's voice crackled over the comm, urging Talia to keep moving forward. She oriented her craft, scanning for the next ring, her eyes quick to spot random meteoroids spiraling in her direction. With a deft flick of her thrusters, she pitched sideways, weaving an impossibly tight trajectory that left the drifting rocks spinning harmlessly behind her. Elora soared overhead, ignoring a near impact with an energy pillar. One competitor, a serpentine creature wearing a metallic harness, pushed too hard, miscalculated, and smashed into an energy beam. The craft broke apart in a shimmering wave. The pilot ejected to safety. Talia grit her teeth and pressed on. The rest of her Earth team advanced steadily, using communication and carefully timed flanking maneuvers to slip around obstacles. Each ring they cleared brought a triumphant surge of confidence. By the time Talia flew through the finish line, she realized she was among the first 10, a respectable start, and more importantly, Earth had proven they were no amateurs. In the hours after the gauntlet, the station's canteens and lounge decks buzzed with conversation. Discussion about Earth's performance trickled through the corridors, the consensus surprising. Talia felt a flood of relief. They had at least shown they belonged. Some told them that the next event, nicknamed Asteroid Billiards, was equally dangerous. Rumors suggested it took place in a real asteroid field, with minimal supervisory control. Pilots would be tasked with hitting designated targets hidden amid drifting rubble, while avoiding collisions or sabotage from other contestants. It was rumored to be less about raw speed and more about strategic cunning. When Talia and her colleagues arrived at their docking bay the following day, they found their ships newly outfitted with targeting modules. They also found that additional array systems were being distributed to every pilot, courtesy of the tournament hosts. Before launching, Darius, ever the engineer, took a close look at the software and recognized advanced alien coding, some of which seemed more intrusive than supportive. He said nothing publicly, but he quietly advised Talia and the rest of their squad to remain wary in case the system tried to override manual controls. The second event started amidst the swirling dust of an asteroid cluster near the outer fringes of Aruvia's eye. Pilots from various species soared into the region, scanning for glowing orbs hidden among drifting rocks. The requirement was to tag as many orbs as possible within a limited time. Each orb pinged a pilot's scoreboard. Catching sight of rival teams prowling the field made Talia's fingers flex around her control stick. She launched into the fray, dipping behind a massive rock for cover. A large, avian-like pilot in a needle-thin craft cut across her path. She banked away just in time, then angled her targeting reticle to shoot at an orb floating behind rotating shards of rock. She carefully timed her approach until the reticle glowed green. With one well-placed laser burst, it shattered, awarding her a point. But threats lurked everywhere. A trio of heavily armored craft, sporting an emblem of a renowned warrior race, reinforced a sector of the field and claimed a cluster of orbs for themselves. Elora, refusing to yield, led a breakneck charge, weaving around murderous shards of debris to snatch at least 2 orbs from beneath their noses. Another craft zoomed in from above, taking advantage of the confusion to destroy a few unguarded orbs. Talia and Kazuo kept their wits, picking off single orbs in less contested pockets. The field was so crowded with lethal obstacles that often their best tactic was patience. With a tight grin, Talia lured a brash competitor away from an orb-laden area, only for Shen to swoop in behind them and claim the mother lode. The competition's time limit forced them to scramble, and hearts pounded in excitement. Cries of dismay and triumph came over the universal comms each time a pilot's craft was damaged or an orb destroyed. In the last seconds, Talia made one final surge, firing thrusters wide open, ignoring the groans from her engine. She missed a collision by half a meter and clipped an orb with a perfect shot, just as the final buzzer sounded. Through the swirling dust, she heard cheering on the comms. The Earth team consistently placed in the upper ranks. on par with many established interstellar powers. That evening, Talia attended a gathering in one of the station's atmospheric terraces. A transparent dome overhead revealed the swirling cosmos. Dozens of species mingled in clusters. Some were tall and covered in shimmering feathers, while others were small, scuttling across the floor in mechanical exosuits. Talia made an effort to learn from them, gleaning each pilot's approach and style. She discovered that one of the top performers was a pilot named Sileran. The Kyrian pilots were legendary for their telepathic link with each other, allowing them to coordinate maneuvers almost instantaneously, turning dogfights into elegantly choreographed dances. Another top competitor was a burly, red-skinned being named Rokar, a champion from a warrior culture that prized aggression in the cockpit. To Talia's surprise, she found these aliens to be friendly enough. Eager for new challenges, yet, beneath the good-natured camaraderie, tension simmered. Each pilot yearned to place first. There was only one champion's trophy, and it would not be won through politeness. Many turned curious eyes toward Talia and her teammates. Whispers circulated. Are humans truly that skilled, or have they just been lucky so far? Talia resolved to let their flying do the talking. As the competition progressed, the events grew more daunting. The organizers unleashed a bracket of single-elimination duels, scenario-based rescue missions, and precision landing drills on small planetoid outposts. Earth's pilots rallied in each stage. Shen demonstrated an uncanny knack for stealth infiltration during a rescue mission, slipping undetected through patrolling drones to evacuate simulated survivors. Kazuo's calm and calculating mind earned him a top spot in the bracket duels. Alora's raw aggression shook up opponents who misjudged her willingness to push her craft beyond the recommended safety limits. Darius's tactical brilliance came into stark relief when he devised an unorthodox approach to reconfigure his engines mid-sheet, doubling speed at the cost of some structural integrity. Yet, he handled it gracefully enough to win. Talia, consistently near the top, combined reflexes with a nearly supernatural sense of anticipation. She gained a reputation for pulling off last-second maneuvers that left gasping spectators in her wake. They all gave Earth a glimmer of credibility. Whenever Talia and her teammates reconvened in the lounge, they'd exchange quick, heartfelt smiles. They amazed themselves as much as anyone else. Representatives from older star nations, a four-armed species called the Koran, remarked with grudging respect that the Terrans had covered centuries of star flight knowledge in a few short Earth generations. But not everyone admired Earth's success. Whispers started of sabotage. Though no direct incidents had been reported, Talia noticed how certain mechanical checkups took longer than usual. She sensed a new tension in Kazuo's manner whenever he ran diagnostics on his instrument. Shen, with his intelligence background, had begun to watch for unusual patterns in the station's corridor patrols. She found him sometimes observing from a distance, scanning the bustle of traffic. They surmised that certain parties might prefer to see Earth knocked out, given that having new, unexpected competition could upset old power balances. Talia tried to remain focused, telling herself that they had no solid proof of foul play. After the still feeling of being watched lingered. Before the penultimate round came a brief reprieve, 2 days for rest and repairs. Talia seized the chance to sit in her craft's cockpit with only the hum of background systems for company. She reflected on Earth's improbable journey here. The initial invitation, which had come so out of the blue, the fierce selection back home, the leaps in technology that scientists had worked day and night to achieve. The sense of wonder soon mingled with the distinct thrill of the unknown. For all of humanity's grit, they remained the new kids on the block in a universe that had grown used to ancient alliances and established champions. She recalled old legends of explorers crossing treacherous seas back on Earth, forging new routes for humankind. She felt something similar here. A determination to prove that Earth had a place among the stars. The semifinal event was a team-based hazard run through an uncharted nebula. Each squad had to race across a region clouded by electromagnetic interference, navigate hidden vortexes, and, at times, defend themselves against the lightning storms that raged unpredictably across the swirling mists. Talia's craft vibrated with tension as the Aurora Vista escorted them to the starting line. Then the corridor parted, and they launched. It was like drifting through a cosmic ocean of shimmering turquoise and violet. Streams of charged particles swirled, sometimes clumping into massive arcs that crackled overhead. If a pilot strayed off course, they risked drifting into a vortex that would swallow them. Collisions with rival teams were also possible. Talia, forging a path ahead, relied on her inbound readings, but the nebula's interference caused the sensors to glitch every few seconds. She improvised, using her eyes to gauge where lightning might form, trusting her gut to predict the swirl of cosmic currents. Kazuo took a position to the left, scanning for open channels. Elora and Darius stuck to the center line, while Shen monitored the rear. They moved as a precise squadron, weaving around storms, taking advantage of the fleeting pockets of calm to fire thrusters at max. At one point, an enormous crackling arc soared just meters from Elora's cockpit, but she managed to roll away in time, hard-pounding. Another team tried to block them, firing pulses from something akin to an ion disruptor. Talia gritted her teeth and performed a tight barrel roll that brought her behind their line. She released a short burst of decoy flares. The interfering illusions scattered their attackers, granting Earth's squad the space to press forward. The milestone ring, glowing in the shifting gloom, came into view. Talia exhaled relief when they passed it, and the scoreboard soon showed Earth had placed high enough to proceed to the final round. Reporters from allied star systems marveled at their composure under such harsh conditions. She saw their images. Earth's silhouette of 5 flashed across giant 3D displays across the station. The final round was cloaked in secrecy. Pilots gathered in the station's largest briefing hall, where the official from earlier reappeared, flanked by other dignitaries. The official announced, "For the last trial, we bring forth an ancient test known as the Infinity Circuit. Constructed centuries ago, it challenges every aspect of a pilot's skill, endurance, reflexes, tactical thinking, and courage. The top contenders will compete simultaneously, navigating a labyrinth that dynamic gravitational fields will constantly reconfigure. Weapons are minimal. Instead, your survival hinges on your mastery of flight under ever-changing physics, as well as your ability to make quick, unconventional decisions. Only one pilot can claim victory at the circuit center. In the final half-kilometer, there are no rules, except to avoid lethal force." Murmurs erupted. The Infinity Circuit was rumored to be lethal if miscalculated, yet no pilot showed signs of backing out. For Earth, only Talia and Kazuo had earned individual slots thanks to their consistently high rankings. Each pilot starfighter was loaded, and soon they soared into a corridor that shimmered with wave-like pulses. Talia's breath caught in her throat. The Infinity Circuit defied logic. At times, the corridor branched into multiple paths that looped back or twisted sideways. Gravity reversed at intervals, flipping her craft's orientation. She had mere seconds to reconfigure her thrusters. She glimpsed other pilots swirling through the labyrinth. The slightest misjudgment sent them careening into walls. Her eyes darted to a scoreboard readout in her cockpit, checking her position. Kazuo was somewhere behind her, forced to slow due to surging gravitational riptides. Meanwhile, Solarian's Kyrian ship flitted ahead, employing telepathic synergy with a Kyrian teammate who was feeding him partial data. Talia scowled. The labyrinth grew narrower, pressure building. She soared past pockets of swirling singularities that threatened to yank the hull plating from her ship. In those moments, she recalled old Earth flight training. Remain calm. Breathe. Do not oversteer. She carefully toggled her energy distribution, rerouting power from weapons to directional thrusters. She needed the extra agility just to stay alive. The gravity twisted again, flipping her craft in a barrel roll that nearly blacked her out from the G-forces. She forced her eyes open, yanking herself back into control. After rounding a glowing bend, she spotted half a dozen crafts forging fans of exhaust behind them. Far ahead, the final route to the center shimmered with a mesmerizing vortex. Inside that vortex lay the finish line. Talia urged her craft forward, tailing Silarin and Rokar, who battled for the lead. Suddenly, the labyrinth embarked on one last unpredictable shift, compressing from multiple sides. Rokar attempted to muscle the controls, but crashed into a contorting barrier. Silarin used telepathic assistance to slip through. Talia, reacting solely on instinct, found a slim tunnel opening along the labyrinth's right side. She caught a final glimpse of Kazuo's craft battered by a sudden wave, but he remained in the race, trudging behind. He soared into the tunnel, twisting sideways to avoid another block. Then the labyrinth parted, revealing the swirling final approach. Silarin was edging rapidly forward. Talia had mere seconds to act. She tapped into that intangible reflex, an unspoken synergy between her mind and the starfighter's capabilities. Each jolt and shift was an extension of her nervous system. She felt the craft's vibrations like an appendage. Alora's face flashed in her memory, urging her never to hold back. Talia angled downward, hard, using the labyrinth's leftover gravitational swirl to slingshot her starfighter. The sudden burst of momentum catapulted her forward, letting her close the gap. She caught a glimpse of Silarin's silhouette. They were neck and neck, the finish line just ahead, in a roiling funnel of bright emerald light. The Kyrian pilot, perhaps tuning in to other telepaths, realized Talia was near, darting sideways to block her. Talia refused to shy away. She nudged her thrusters, drifting dangerously close. A final gravitational wave threatened to smash them both into the labyrinth walls. In a split-second calculation, Talia changed her engine vector, directing the wave's force around her. Silarin jerked the controls too abruptly in response, and his craft wobbled. Talia seized that moment to thrust ahead. Her starfighter's nose pierced the vortex. Time seemed to slow as she felt the swirling energies compressing around her hull. Then, in a flash, she shot out the other side. Surging into open space, her craft soared past the finish beacon. Immediately, the Infinity Circuit's final ring glowed in affirmation. She had done it. Cheers erupted on comm channels from teammates and spectators who had watched the feed. Talia exhaled, momentarily overwhelmed. She circled back in lower velocity to see Silarin's ship emerging behind her, soon followed by Kazuo and a handful of other top contenders. The circuit's mesmerizing paths powered down, reverting to a stable corridor for the rescue teams that collected damaged vessels. Dazed survivors lingered in the labyrinth's wake. Relief washed over Talia when she heard Kazuo's relief-laced voice. "Incredible job, Talia." She felt tears prick her eyes. None of them had fully expected Earth would come this far in their first attempt, let alone see a Terran-crowned champion of the galaxy's fiercest flight tournament. In the aftermath, the station erupted in celebrations. The awarding ceremony was broadcast to countless star systems. Talia stood on a raised dais amid swirling holographic lights, hoisting the glimmering champion's trophy. In that instant, the weight of Earth's achievement settled upon her. Alien dignitaries offered solemn bows and respectful words. The golden-eyed official from before congratulated Earth for transcending the boundaries of experience, noting that sometimes raw passion and adaptation beat centuries of tradition. Elora, Darius, Shen, and Kazuo gathered around Talia, faces glowing with pride. Though this was an individual achievement, Talia took every opportunity to share her gratitude for her teammates' support, acknowledging their role in getting her there. Across the luminous crowds, she could see species both familiar and strange, each acknowledging that, while humanity was young among the stars, they would not be underestimated again. When the dust settled, Earth's contingent packed their starships and took a final tour of the station's labyrinthine walkway. Pilots and spectators alike approached them, forging new bonds and alliances that would set the stage for diplomatic growth. Talia realized that these connections might be infinitely more valuable than a single trophy. For a moment, she gazed through a wide corridor window at the shimmering galaxy beyond. The swirling lights of Aruvia's eye reminded her how truly vast the universe was. They would all return to Earth with stories of wonder and triumph, stories that would spark future generations to push boundaries of technology and skill. She took a steady breath, feeling that intangible flutter of possibility. In her mind's eye, she pictured all the uncharted regions of space. If one tournament could change the galaxy's opinion of humanity, what else could they achieve in the years to come? Eventually, they boarded the Aurora Vista, departing the station as heroes. Bright streams of other starships followed, drifting away to their home worlds. Talia watched from the pilot's seat as the station faded into the distance, replaced by the endless star field. Each planet out there held infinite possibilities. She thought of the intangible synergy she felt in the infinity circuit, and she wondered if perhaps the greatest test of human resilience and resourcefulness went on every day, forging them bit by bit into an interstellar people. Whatever challenges rose in the future, be they tournaments, frontiers, or unimaginable cosmic mysteries, Talia sensed Earth would tackle them with the same fierce determination and unwavering spirit that had led to their unprecedented victory today, and so they carried that spark home, ready to ignite a bright new chapter, confident in the knowledge that, beneath the stars, humanity's wings were strong enough to soar.